From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now, or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. The Catholic Church is one of the largest institutions in the world. According to a 2016 study by the Annuario Pontificio, roughly 1.272 billion people identified as Catholic in 2014. That's over 17% of the world's population. Over centuries, the Church has amassed vast amounts of power and influence, and, in the past, the words of its officials weren't just spiritual law. They were the enforceable law of the land. While the Catholic Church has committed itself to numerous acts of charity, it has also historically been implicated or directly responsible for a multitude of atrocious events, including war, colonization, and the subjugation of native peoples. However, these were acts from distant eras. The current Pope, for example, is not likely to recommend invading the Middle East in a crusade, or yet again hunting down witches. But it turns out the Church had another scandal brewing all along, and no one's sure how far back it goes. Here's where it gets crazy. Evidence indicates that officials in the Catholic Church systematically abuse children of both genders and virtually all ages. In the United States, more people began to gain awareness of the issue in June of 1985 with the case of Father Gilbert Goethe in Lafayette, Louisiana. Many in the secular world were initially skeptical. Consider the infamous Sinead O'Connor performance on Saturday Night Live in 1992, when O'Connor, herself a victim of abuse, ripped apart a photograph of the Pope while proclaiming,
"Fight the real enemy!"
O'Connor was lambasted in the media for being outrageous and acting in poor taste. Yet to many she was vindicated in the early 2000s when reports of abuse flooded the internet, along with damning evidence of cover-ups, transfers, and corruption within the Church. However, given that many of the molestations occurred in the 1970s and earlier, cases are often not prosecutable as the statute of limitations has expired. So why has the conspiracy of abuse occurred? According to Lori Goodstein, writing for the New York Times, there are several contributing factors. First, it's a matter of sheer numbers. Catholics make up about a quarter of the U.S. population and are the largest single religious denomination. Second, the Church keeps extensive documentation, meaning that this organization is more likely than others to have a paper trail. Third, Goodstein believes factors involved in the nature of the priesthood may contribute to the abuse epidemic. Priests have an exalted position when acting in persona Christi, or in the person of Christ. Goodstein points out the celibacy requirements as well as the all-male priesthood are often cited as factors, but abuse occurs in institutions with married clergy, in other religions, and in family structures. Abuse is, in short, in no way unique to the Catholic Church. Today, more and more victims have come forward, and the Church has declared it will take action against these abusers, with Pope Francis saying all responsible will be held accountable in September of 2015. Yet at this point, many of the Church's critics and surviving victims doubt there will be any substantive action. The sheer extent of abuse that occurred in the Catholic Church remains unclear, along with the amount of complicity the organization did or did not have with the actions of individual abusers. To some, the Church is an enormous organization doing its level best to root out corrupt individuals, while to others, the Church is actively and aggressively covering up the stuff they don't want you to know. Learn more about the child abuse epidemic in the Catholic Church by tuning into our audio podcast available at stufftheydon'twantyoutoKnow.com.